Welcome to the Jake Turner Podcast, where we share tools to win in life, health, and business. Today's guest is someone who embodies the modern creative hustle. Chris is a self-taught photographer who didn't come up through traditional school programs. He built his skill set through the relentless curiosity, late nights on YouTube University, and a hunger to grow. His journey started with just an idea, and over time he's crafted it into a business that blends visual storytelling with his passion for music, creativity, and connection. He's proof that you don't need a diploma to be dangerous, just discipline, taste, and a willingness to bet on yourself. Whether you're a creator just getting started or someone looking for a fresh visual perspective, Chris brings a realness that makes you stop scrolling and start feeling. Let's dive into his story, how he built his brand, and what's keeping him creatively grounded. Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Quite a pleasure.
Glad to have you here. You live by the quote, "Love the life you live the life you love." Where did that mindset come from, and when did it become real for you?
Honestly, that's a great question. There's a little bit of a backstory behind this. When I was a kid, I wanted to get a tattoo, and Bob Marley was always somebody that I found value in. He was a peacemaker. He had a lot of background interest and history to just positive quotes. So with that, I wanted to get this tattoo, and I was thinking live the life you love was a structure of, yes, live the life. This is great. Well, I told my mom that, and she goes, no, you have to love the life you live as well. And I would go, why? And she goes, well, there's going to be points in your life where you're not always going to enjoy what you're doing, but you have to appreciate the life that you have in front of you. So she said, if you're going to get the tattoo, you got to get both sides. So I now have that tattoo on me. From my back, it says, love the life you live. And on my chest, it says, live the life you love. So I really embody that by thinking, what am I doing and how am I doing it? Am I making the best of what I have in front of me to get me to a point of where I want to be and find more excitement when I get there?
That's really cool. I love that because you basically have everything covered like front to back, like literally.
Yes.
I wish, I don't know if we could show them the podcast. Probably not the most appropriate to have you take your shirt off, but I'll take your word for it as far as the tattoo goes. So.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, that's very cool. You've also said, this is the beginning of a new day. And I love that. What does a meaningful day look like for you now?
I always like to take time to myself in the morning. I know that people use the word meditation a lot, and it has a lot of different meanings behind it. But I think sometimes for myself, it's just a time of reflection. What was the day like yesterday? What can today be like? How can I learn something new, apply something that I've learned the day before? But things don't always have to carry over. Sometimes I can just leave the past in the past, learn from it, and apply new things per day. But that quote specifically came from a door-to-door sales experience that I was dealing with. And each day was very challenging because you are in a field of a lot of no's and you don't get a lot of yeses. And that was printed out and plastered on my car's dashboard. So I'd read that every morning and think about, okay, a new day, a new person, a possible new client. How can I build that today?
So tell me about that. And I want to
Sure.
actually go back to the tattoos eventually, because tattoos are fascinating. Tell me about your sales job. So what type of sales were you doing?
Yes. So it was an internship in college.
Okay.
There was a company based out of Nashville called Southwestern Company. They get all of their clienteles through colleges, or they get all of their, not clientele, they get all of their employees through college. So internship only. And they basically set up a business school in Nashville. You go to a sales school for 2 weeks. You learn how to structure a pitch. You learn about no doesn't always mean no. How do you redefine the conversation? And then they basically put you in the field. And in the field is basically a trade system. So people from Nashville would go to another state. Places from another state would come to Nashville. I ended up in St. Joseph, Missouri. If you have any familiarity where that is about 2 to 3 hours north of St. Louis. So you're kind of more cornfield based. Every house is about a mile to 2 miles apart from each other. A lot of gravel roads. And so it was very challenging. It was really hard. I covered a lot of miles on my car and I made one sale the first day, and I was out there for 5 weeks.
Wow, 5 weeks.
Well, so that quote specifically was like, all right, today's a new day.
Yeah.
All right, today's a new day.
Right.
Let's make something good out of it. Today's a new day.
Yeah, collecting those no's, especially out in the sticks.
Yes.
I can definitely relate as far as coming from a small town. So I'm from Broomfield, Illinois, which probably have never heard of it. But you're from a small town when you're like, oh, you know that big town? Yeah, I'm like 30 minutes from there, and that's
yes.
like how you describe the town. And like I described too, like collecting no's, because I think that's a big part of sales and framing your mindsets about it. And I'm curious, when I'm coaching people for businesses, some people don't follow a sales flow structure. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people can make. They try and just like wing it, and they're having trouble with sales, and they're not following a structure. And it's like, well, what do you think is going to happen? You don't have any structure. There's like no structure to your life. You need to have that structure for sales flow. So, with what you learned about sales, did they have like a particular sales flow that you followed?
I think like most times, let's relay that back to like a service industry job. If you have never served before, they're going to give you a template, and they're going to say, hi, my name is this. Welcome to this. Thank you so much for coming in. This is our special for the day. So same concept with the book field. And by the way, the product was study systems. It was books. So you're helping anywhere from elementary all the way to high school. There's AP books that can help you learn more of the curriculum at home. So this was more for at home schooling or extra applied curriculum for people who are in school already. So with that, we had a pitch, we had a template on how to basically get our foot in the door. Now, when our foot's in the door, the conversation changes. So you never talk about the product at the door. You'd always talk about the product when you actually got in the door. And so you had a step-by-step structure, and it was helpful, but they always said, don't ever take it personally. And I've watched so many people in sales of any factor get a no and go and just start raging. And for some factor that's outside of what's going on in that conversation. So, we had some structure to it, but you are running your own business when you get out there. So you can change how you apply it when you get there.
That's really cool. You talked about tattoos. Do you have any other tattoos? I'm just curious.
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Do they have meaning to them as well?
Yes. Yeah, I can't get a tattoo unless it has meaning.
Okay.
I know people can have a drunken night and go get a tattoo. That's never been me because I grew up overthinking things already.
Okay.
So tattoos, I was like, I'm going to have this on my body for the rest of my life. What do I want it to represent? Do I want it to have the same meaning today as it is 50 years from now?
Yeah.
So my 4 concepts of tattoos was quotes, music, belief system, and drumline, truthfully, because I was in the drumline as a kid.
Oh, that's really cool.
It was very a part of myself, and it still is.
Good.
So I have no regrets. That's drumline. So
okay. That's one of your tattoos?
Yes.
Okay.
It came before the movie, and it is spelled correctly. It's not.
That's my next question. You always see like the no regrets,
yes, exactly.
or whatever. Which I would actually consider getting that.
Yes. No, I spelled it correctly. Came out before the movie, but we had this idea that every time you perform in a performance, you're putting everything out on the floor, so you have no regrets.
Nice.
You've done the best performance, even if it's the first performance of the year, and every single time we would feed into that. And so we used to take permanent markers and write no regrets on our arms, on somewhere that we could look down and go, yes, this is what we're doing it for. This has purpose. This has meaning. So that was my first tattoo. My second one was my religious and belief system. I have interest in who I am and what I believe, and that has shifted a lot over the years. So the conversation can be very broad, but maybe in another conversation we can talk more about that. But with that, it's a cross that has kind of like a flame process to like surrounding it. It was a design I built, kind of sketched out myself, but then it says seize the day, life is good. So carpe diem across, and then life is good is down.
Okay.
And I was able to cross it right on the letter of the I. So it kind of gives that process. But I think of it like within the cross, seize the day because life is good. But if you were to give that a broader meaning, if you have a sense of faith in something bigger than you and a process of hope in something, then sometimes I think that can relieve a little bit of stress throughout the day. And it has more meaning to be okay with how things are, even if it doesn't feel like there's much structure to it. So in the midst of chaos, I think hope and faith can provide a little bit more of a grounding experience.
Oh, amen. I believe that 100%. And if you're comfortable, you're welcome to dive more into that story.
You know, it is really interesting for me because religion, I grew up in the church. I went to church every Wednesday, every Sunday, and it had a lot of black and white conversations. And as I've gotten older, I've understood more about the gray area that exists in the world, and that's okay too. I grew up in a home where one half of my family was very in-depth in church, and the other one was not. And I love them both just as much. And so when my parents separated, that was a conversation that I chose to have with both of them very deeply and intentionally because I want to understand why. So where I'm at now, religion is very deep to me, but it's different than what I think is publicized in society now. And it's hard to say a word without feeling like you're being tied into a group that you don't feel like you belong to at all. I know, like, the word Christian, for instance. I want to say that I am that, but I don't want to say that I am that like others might say I am that, if that makes sense.
A little bit. Could you just explain it a little bit further for me?
Of course. I think some people don't have the applied understanding of what Christianity means in its core. And so people say I'm this, but they do something completely different. And so when you get a mass group of people all doing that, then it's like, I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be represented by that. And that can be kind of challenging. So I lead more, I love Buddhists' mindset and experiences and understanding of the world, and I like to implement that into the structure of Christianity because I think there's a lot of common ground there. But I rather, in my own practices, lead by love and call love as my religion and focus on that direction of it than the separation of, I wouldn't even know how to word it properly, but yeah, back to Bob Marley too. Love is my religion. Like there's a lot of value in there, I think. And I mean, I can lead this into another statement, but having had time to live in another place with a different culture and a different community altogether has really brought a new light to what that means to me now living in the States again.
That makes sense. I mean, you can lead into another statement if you want. You know, I think...
I never did finish all my tattoos, though.
No.
But,
no?
Yeah.
What tattoos have you not finished?
The other tattoo I have is...
Oh, your list of tattoos.
Right.
No, please. I have genuine curiosity of lots of things. So
I love that.
I might say I'm curious a lot to make it more obvious, but I will just ask questions because I have some questions I for sure want to ask you. I'm genuinely curious about who you are as a person and things you're saying. And,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. So if you don't mind, I do want to hear about your other tattoos.
Now, the only other one I'm missing is music, which encompasses now where I'm at now. But music is life was a phrase that I enjoyed most. And so I was able to take like an anatomical heart and create sound waves within the heart and then put headphones over the top. And so that was the last one. But that was the biggest piece I had because all the other one was just text. So
Okay. And where's that one at?
that is on my rib cage.
Okay.
It is the full. It hurt.
Yeah, the first thing I think is
Yeah. Yeah.
like
There's no muscle there. There's no fat tissue. There's nothing to suppress the right on the rib cage.
yeah.
Yeah.
You ever hurt your ribs before?
No.
It doesn't take much, and gosh, there's sometimes not a lot you can do for them either too, but they're extremely painful. So I like the headphone things. It's like, I mean, it makes you think to like listen to your heart too. That's what I think of too. So, question for you: do you think I have any tattoos?
Because you asked, I'm going to say yes.
You'd be wrong. I do not.
Impressive.
Yeah, I do
Okay.
not. You know why? Because I think it's like mid tattoo, like as they like, even as they start doing it or like they're halfway. Now I used to be like, I picture like on the TV there'd be like an announcement, but now it'd be like a notification on my phone like, it's cool to have no tattoos, and like blank slate, or there'll be some like trending term for it or something like that, and I'd be like, oh man, I was just trying to be cool, but. But I think having something with more meaning, I think it'd be really neat. So I want to talk about too about with Christianity and love. I think people miss the love part a lot too, you know, and I think focusing on that, and there's like two different aspects of it too. So I have like this here, the lion and the lamb, which like I symbolize with a lot too, because I think that people are like to focus on two different parts of myself, to where it's like masculine leader, courageous like warrior, but then peace and loving like the lamb, to where like in Jesus he's both those things. He's a ruler and king, but also a symbol like peace and love. So I just highly identify with that. I think I'm gonna make it my logo and stuff actually too. We'll see. So it'd be interesting to see where we can look back on this and then see in the future like, oh, did he actually make that his logo or not? So, no, it'd be cool. When it comes to the creative process, what do most people get wrong with the creative process or about healing?
Those are two different. I'm kind of figuring out how to fuse those together. I don't know that you can really get something wrong with the creative process. I think that's kind of the fun part about it. But I think what can limit somebody from sharing more about the creative process is not healing. So I think that's one thing. That's one way I would probably try to fuse those two things together, because like even within myself, it took me a lot of time to dig deep and be okay with the no, the challenging conversation, the somebody doesn't agree with what you do or how you do it, and let go of that fear before I applied more of sharing my creative process with others. So does that give you any kind of conversation in that response, or how I might be able to restructure that conversation?
It just makes me think of a question. There's no
Go for it.
no right or wrong answer, right? Your response is your response. You
Fair
know,
enough.
like I just want to hear what your response is. What would you say to someone who needs to heal but doesn't know how?
Ask more questions. Go to somebody that you truly find as a confidant and just be willing to ask for help. I think a lot of people don't ask for help because they're too inside their head, or just feel like they've figured out what they can as much as they can up into a certain point. It took me to almost 30 years old before I was like okay with asking for help, because I was so self-sufficient. I was so independent. I moved out of my parents' house at 18. I've been figuring it out ever since. But asking for help can get you to a whole nother scale of experiences that I would have never been able to had I not that initial ask for help. And doing the self-help books, finding books that I found ways to apply to my life and my experiences and challenges, and there's a lot of good information out there.
It sounds like you sought and found a lot of good information. When you mean seeking out help, what are you talking about? Did you go to therapy? Did you go to a counselor? What did you do that seemingly worked for you?
Therapy was a part of that journey. It wasn't on my own, though. It was through a relationship that wasn't working. And so it started with relationship therapy in a time that I was with somebody that was just, it was difficult for me and we weren't understanding each other enough. Nothing against her, nothing against me. We just were clashing without resolution. And so we chose to go to therapy together to try to figure it out. And through that time, relationship didn't work out, and that was good because of what we had learned. But I stayed in therapy afterwards as an individual, and I got to learn more about myself and the way that I handle challenge, the way that I respond to situations, and they provided some good information on some books to read and some authors that could be a little bit more relatable to the situation I was in at that time.
When going through therapy, what's the biggest key takeaway you learned about yourself?
I went into therapy curious because growing up, therapy was like you had to have something really wrong with you to be there to begin with. Mm-hmm. So through that time, I learned that I knew more than I thought I did, but that I needed to open up more doors about myself that I had kept shut for a long time too. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to kind of just be yourself. I was very fearful of what other people thought of me for a long time, and I needed to kind of let that go. And as quirky, as goofy, as whatever as I am, that is who I am, and that's why I am who I am.
When you opened one of those doors that were closed initially, how did it feel?
Like a weight was lifted off. Being able to take a deep breath and just feel like, okay, I can do this. I feel good right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, relief.
Good. Do we mind if I make an observation?
Most certainly.
So, like, even now at the moment, like, you seem like your energy shifted. Like, got light, kind of like you're in that same moment when that door's closed and you open it. So, it's cool. These moments like this I have when I coach people one-on-one. And it's awesome. Because it's like, you can open that door that's been closed. Who knows what's on the other side? But you don't know until you go up and find out what's keeping that door locked.
Yeah. I mean, even getting to the point of being here with you has given me a lot of opening doors that I've had closed for a long time too. So I'm excited to be here, diving deep as deep might be. So
we can go as deep as you're comfortable with. Like I said before, if there's something, we want to cut out, that's fine. You know what I mean? All good. So I want you to be yourself, and if you want to be vulnerable. Not, just put the wall up. Whatever.
I'm told for always having like diplomatic answers, so I'm like finding my way of like what does the raw version of me look like in a conversation too. So
yeah, I think you're doing that. So props to you.
Thank you.
The big difference, I think, it's good for people to know too about therapy and coaching, which I don't know if you've used a coach before for anything.
No, but I have friends that do it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So like the main difference between coaching and therapy is therapy, you'll heal from the past to the present, and then coaching takes you from the present, moves you forward to the future. And so it's key. Sometimes you can get therapy and coaching at the same time. Sometimes I can't work with someone until they go through therapy. Someone has a big drinking problem, an addiction problem, stuff like that. It requires some therapy. Take me to 2011. What was going through your head when you decided to move to St. Thomas?
My life was a bit chaotic. School wasn't working out. I tried to make college a thing twice, and it wasn't. And I had a friend get a job in St. Thomas, and he kind of opened up that door for me. He was just somebody I worked with. We worked in the mall together. He got a job out there and was like, hey, I've got some extra space for you. Would you like to come out and say what's up? And so I went out there for spring break, got the chance to kind of get a taste of it, see what it was about. And then he asked if I wanted to move out there, and I had no idea where to begin. I started like consulting with all my friends, like, is this a great idea? Is this a bad idea? What do I do? My parents were even like a little questionable, but they were also like, when would you ever have this chance otherwise? I'm like, I couldn't even give you an answer there, but I mean, mind you, I'm like 21, 22, and sure, why not? You know, to be honest, I failed out of college, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready for that adrenaline rush. So I took a leap of faith and hopped out there and gave myself the idea that I'd be there for 7 months, do kind of like an extended spring break. Got a short, part-time job, and 7 months turned into 7 years.
Oh my gosh. So just so I know, because
Sure.
trying to think in my head, like St. Thomas, where? That's not like a city, that's like a country, right? Or where is this located at?
Yeah, so it is a U.S. territory.
Okay.
That is in the U.S. Virgin Islands. So it's neighboring Puerto Rico. Basically, the U.S. Virgin Islands are in between Puerto Rico and the British Virgin Islands, which is going to be like Tortola, Anegada. That is another country altogether. But it's a 15-minute boat ride between St. John and there. So that was the first time I ever used a passport. That was the first time I ever was in another country, you know, while living in a U.S. territory where you didn't need a visa, you didn't need a passport, and life was 50 years prior to the present. Like, credit cards wasn't very common, very junky cars driving around because the roads are bad. So you kind of got to take a step back and live in a different era is what it felt like.
Sounds really awesome. I love to travel too, and I've heard of St. John.
Yeah.
But St. Thomas sounds amazing too. I mean, would you recommend going? I'm guessing.
Oh, most certainly.
You lived there for 7 years.
Yes.
You obviously hated it.
No, it was hard for sure. I mean, that was the one thing I enjoyed most about it too, was it was very hard. You had to figure everything out on your own. There was not conveniences like the States have.
For example?
Well, you drive on the left-hand side of the road first.
Okay.
There's no road signs. Thank goodness there's Google Maps now, but there wasn't when I was out there. So there was a lot to it it took a day to get your oil changed. It's mostly tourism, and jewelry is mostly the focus of that industry out there. So
my favorites.
Yeah, there you go. Duty free, no taxes.
Yeah.
But it was just, I mean, thankfully you could ask questions and ask people for help, and they provide it for you. But plenty of times, like, people drive really terribly out there. I went through 5 different cars because of that.
Oh my gosh, 5?
5.
In 7 years?
Yes.
Like, what would happen to them?
Get in car accidents.
Dang.
I'm a good driver. I will be honest about that.
Obviously. Regardless what your track record says.
No, but I mean, that alone was wild to me. When I didn't have a car, I was walking on the side of the road. I was hitchhiking, just a whole nother experience altogether. And it's really kind of, the elevation is drastic. So it's not like flat and then mountainous. It's like water and then mountainous. Like, it's weird.
Wow.
St. John is mostly a national park, so it's a lot less people. I think there's only about 10,000 people that live on St. John. and there's only 60,000 people. Well, this was back in the day. It's about 60,000 people that live in St. Thomas. At the time I was living there was only 100,000 people between 3 different islands, because St. Croix we're not even talking about. So
That's another one that's pretty close, I'm guessing.
it's about 15 miles south of St. Thomas.
Okay. Gotcha.
But
Wow. Sounds cool. I took my mom on vacation to St. Lucia recently. Is that near there? I'm terrible with geography.
it's in the West Indies, but it's much further south. That's closer to like Trinidad and like that border of like Colombia, Brazil. So it's in the West Indies along with St. Thomas and the British Virgin Islands, but a little bit further out.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I'll have to check it out because it's probably not far to go to as well.
Oh, yeah. It'd be closer for you.
Yeah, because I love Maui. Me and my dad went to Maui like a year and a half ago or so. It was just so sick.
Yeah, I loved his content about it, honestly. It was very impressive.
It was like, it was so awesome. But it's a little bit more of a flight. And so it's like,
Yeah.
can we some a little closer?
See, you're already on this side of the states. You have to go all the way to the other side of the states to even get to Hawaii. Whereas here, you just go down to Florida and then 2 hours out, you're there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, at least it's closer. It's nice.
And I got a lot of friends out there with some vacation homes, so let me know. I'll hook you up.
Sounds like something I'm not at all interested in.
Or let me know when you're going. I'll meet you out there.
Yeah, let's go. Do a podcast out there.
Sure.
I'm curious. You mentioned the word chaos a couple of times. Do you find that people that are more creative tend to have more chaos in their life?
I think people find inspiration in chaos in all creative natures. Whether you're a photographer or musician, people look for those spikes to figure out, how can I construct something creative out of this?
I think that's interesting. Especially, I read in a book recently that a lot of entrepreneurs grew up in a chaotic environment, which I did too with my childhood. And it makes you very good at being an entrepreneur and managing chaos. However, you got to get out of that loop of creating chaos as well too. Mm-hmm. So I'm very good at managing chaos, and I learned to grow out of being like, no, some of these things, we're going to restructure things. This is a little too chaotic and unnecessary.
Right.
Let's reorganize some of these things, plan better. Organizing is something that I always need help with and work on, which my assistant is helping me with that. Once I get things in a structured flow, I can do a lot of work and it takes a lot less energy too. So, just curious. It's like I'm a very creative person myself, so I just curious what your perspective was on it.
And honestly, those are good results that you've provided for yourself too in that, because those are the points in my life that I'd like to learn more about. I'm using ChatGPT as an assistant, but it doesn't do things that I'm not asking it to. And even when it comes to like life coaching, I have somebody that I see as a mentor, but I mean, he sees me as a friend. So there's not so much like providing tools of, hey, let's focus on this when we're not together, which I could definitely lean into that being beneficial. Therapy, I'm pretty self-aware of the situations that I've been through, and I have a better way of processing things if they come up, without thinking that I'm in a like freak mode and I need somebody to be there to like mediate that situation for me. So yeah, I'm very excited with what you're doing and how you're moving forward with all this, because it's definitely beneficial to a lot of people, I think, and definitely in creative worlds too.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And when I got trained as a coach, I went through a professional training program called unpack. It's like a year long. It's super intense. I also got coached as well. And so I have coaches myself. So I'm not just out here saying like, oh, go get a coach, go hire me. I hire coaches for all my main goals. And so I highly encourage you to, if you want to move forward and gain a lot of traction, you don't need a coach, but it really helps out a lot. And I would coach you during this conversation, but even as a coach, it doesn't necessarily work like that either. Once there's more grounds of confidentiality, makes you be even more comfortable to open up.
Right.
And then you can get to some roadblocks of like, oh, like a couple questions in, you can ask the right questions and feel and realize people like, they can have these like, oh, moments. And you're like, oh, I wish I resolved that like 20 years ago. And then if it's something that's really holding you back, it's affecting every area of your life. And so it can propel you forward in all areas. Again, you don't need it, but it's a great place to invest in your life. So, yeah, I recommend it.
That's super cool.
Yeah. And I do group business coaching too, as well. So I have different standards I have for my clients to make and stuff too, which I don't know if you'd ever be interested in. We could talk afterwards. That could be something you'd be interested in too. So depending how much coaching you need, because you seem like you have a lot of growth and a good mindset to where you maybe don't necessarily need a bunch of one-on-one coaching per se. So
I'd say a monthly basis, just to be like, hey, are you applying all the goals you set out for yourself at the beginning of the month? And then accountability, I think, is valuable in itself, regardless of the industry you're in. Just to, I mean, relationship is one thing. Me and my girlfriend, we talk about that all the time. But I think there's certain parts of accountability that between business and personal life, sometimes your partner can't always provide the accountability for that point because they're not a part of either the industry or the awareness of how could they grow with you in that, if that makes sense.
it makes a lot of sense, especially I think you got to be careful about who you seek out professional help from as well.
Very true.
Where you see a lot of people online or something like, I'm a coach. It's like, okay, well, who trained you? Oh, well, I've been coached, and you've done some traveling, sounds like. You've flown in an airplane. Do you think you can go up and fly the plane?
Right. Not at all.
Probably not.
Not at all.
Probably shouldn't be flying planes around in this case, like shouldn't probably be coaching people. The intent there is good. I like that. Just the effectiveness maybe is not there, if that makes sense. Especially most people, we talked about this earlier, you can look up anything how to do it now with AI and ChatGPT, but it's not the how to do something. It's your beliefs and why am I not doing these things? It's like people like, I should be exercising, I should be eating well, I should be going to therapy, right? You even mentioned like some of those beliefs you had before was holding you back from even doing those things that you want or having the energy. Most people don't have enough energy. Like, shoot podcasts all day, I should work out. I already worked out, but I should work out again. If you have enough energy and you do all your stuff for the day, your case, shooting photos, you'll go work out because you have the energy and you know what you're supposed to do. So having those ways to figure out how to get more energy too is important. I think emotionally regulating yourself that way first. I do that through meditation, and I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins. He has a priming exercise, and then also exercising, which ironically working out requires energy, but then gives you more energy. Kind of doesn't make sense, but when you do it, you're like, okay, yeah, this makes sense.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. I hate personal development stuff, if you can't tell. Definitely not going to make a podcast for my entire life about it. You went through a Category 5 hurricane. How did that moment reshape what mattered most to you?
Bottom line, things don't matter. People matter. Materialistic things, they're just things. You can replace them. You can't replace people. You can't replace relationship you have with people. Yeah. Yeah.
Super wise. The next question, if you want to give a shout out or tell them because someone's going to watch this, what people matter the most to you?
People that matter the most to me, my mom, my dad, my sister, my girlfriend, and outside of family, my friend circle is tight, but in value Athanasius.
Yeah, which is my photographer.
Straight up.
He's doing the heart symbols right now, which is like one of our favorite things to do.
It's crazy. I mean, since the day we met and got coffee together, and since that point, like, I just asked him a lot of questions. He gave me a lot of answers, but I was seeking information, and he provided friendship. And I thought that means more to me than anything in the world, because without wanting something in return either. And I was like, wow, this is raw, real, genuine, authentic. I want more of this in my life. And so I've let go of a lot of friends, acquaintances, whatever, to rebuild with almost like Athanasius's points of connection as a structure or foundation, because I was seeking to be liked for what I had to offer instead of who I was as a person first and then what I had to offer. But I mean, outside of him, they know who they are, but in the creative world and who I'm working with in the industry right now, I highly value the realness that people have to offer. It's that through what I've been through, I can now read through the lines if I'm seeing something that's not truly who somebody is, I guess. And it helps me keep my distance if I need to, but I'm also not perfect, and I can wear my heart on my sleeve, connect with somebody, and then get my face rubbed in the dirt. And it's just another lesson to be had.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it, and I'm definitely glad you made a great friend. You know, some people, especially as adults, they can struggle to make friends. If someone who's listening, a lot of people deal with loneliness a lot these days too. For someone out there listening who is struggling to make friends, but I want to say like high quality friends, where would you, let's see, how do I rephrase this?
I have an answer for you, even you have a question.
Okay, you don't even know the question. I already have the answer. I already know what you're thinking.
Yeah. But no, keep structuring it though.
I want to phrase this perfectly, or as good as I can. Where would you look to find high quality friends as an adult?
Cool. That was a question I was hoping for. So I would start with a hobby, and then put yourself in that hobby and connect with like-minded individuals that are doing what you like to do, instead of thinking that you need to find somebody to bring more to the table. Like, you got to bring something to the table first. Like, I mean, going through COVID, going through this whole separation of how to connect with people, I found I like Ultimate Frisbee. Okay, so I hop up on Meetup, and I'm like, hey, anybody else like Ultimate Frisbee? Okay, cool. They play over here at Hendersonville. All right, cool. I'm going to show up. And I got to meet people through there, and then go out and have drinks and talk and get to know people. And I can't say that I'm still in connection with them, but that allowed me to know that if I kept putting myself in positions of hobbies that I enjoy, I can slowly start to meet people in that field. So Ultimate Frisbee, bowling, photography, and obviously photography was, I'm going to have a business out of this, so I should probably have more friends in this than everything else.
Probably. Sense business-wise.
Yeah, it's just pretty strategic there.
I also think of like Ultimate Frisbee, Ultimate Friend.
There's some good ones out there, but a lot of them are marathon runners, and I just couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep up.
It's to each their own.
Yeah.
With marathon, I have some friends who do Ironmans and stuff, and
that is impressive.
Yeah, it's not for me, at least at the moment. If that's what they want to do, great. I always think my perspective, at least currently, is I could probably do a couple hundred push-ups if I wanted to, or even 1,000 push-ups. It's just like, okay, today I'm going to start now. It's going to take me a little while and do it. It's like, I did it. I did 1,000 push-ups. Like, Oh, just because it was difficult. Like, why did you do that? Like, what is it? And I think part of that is people want the challenge for themselves mentally, or it creates significance as well. It's like, I'm the type of person. I am an Iron Man. I don't know. I can't say. I'm sure I'll have a guest on soon who can tell me their perspective. I'll bring my buddy Kevin. He does Iron Mans. He loves it. He does one. He's like, can't wait to do a second one. So, do you exercise?
Not as much as I should. I applaud you for your physique and how you've been able to discipline yourself enough to handle that. I challenge myself to work out more, but I think it's at a point where I'm at in my life. I need better understanding on a little bit more structure on everything that I'm trying to apply with the business, with how I'm actually creating income. And I just moved in with my girlfriend. Like we bought a house together.
Oh,
and
cool.
So there's a lot of transition going on. And I think that has caused my brain to feel overworked. And I respond to that by going, I'm going to sit on the couch and watch some Netflix. But I fully understand, because I know where that, like, almost like that dopamine you can get from working out. And it just kind of like revises you, like rejuvenates you for the day. And you can kind of wake up. But it's on my to-do list.
Yeah. It can do a couple things. Like, for me, it can help calm me down.
Mm.
So a lot of people that are doers, entrepreneurs, I've had to shift my mindset from this, like, get shit done mentality to delegate, create structured flow. What sounds like to me is you need a roadmap. But you also have a good sense of resting too. And
Too much.
well, maybe too much, right? For me saying, I think it's good to rest.
Yeah.
And some people, including myself, I can have a hard time making myself rest, which ironically will make you be even more productive. Have you ever heard the story about the boy and the old man who are chopping wood?
No.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
So this young boy and this old man were in a competition to see who can chop the most wood in 24 hours. And the young boy is like, I'm just going to go at it. He gets his axe and he's just chopping wood. He's just going at it as fast as he can. And the wood's stacking up. And the old man, he's chopping wood at more of like a moderate pace. He chops wood for a little while, and then he rests. Chops wood for a little while, and then he rests. At the end of the day, 24 hours have gone by. End of the competition, the two come together and they see who chopped the most wood. You know who chopped the most wood?
The older gentleman.
The older gentleman. You know why?
He had more energy.
Not necessarily just that, but while he was resting, he was sharpening his axe. And so when you rest, where you're taking breaks, you can sharpen yourself. And people don't always see that. And when the young man was chopping wood as quickly as he could, his axe was dulling. So it's important to rest and be wise and sharpen every edge of your life, or your axe in this case, because it can actually get you ahead.
That's a great story.
You like it?
I really like it.
I just learned that yesterday. Shout out to my buddy Mike. Hope I said it right, but I thought it was cool. I'm totally going to say this on the podcast tomorrow.
No, that's a great story. And even leaning into that, you started the conversation with, or started that story, or just prior, highlighting like you are challenged by not resting as much as you should.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that I did before, and then it was hard for me to regulate how much rest is good rest, and when I'm actually resting, am I actually resting? Because I've noticed times when I'm trying to apply rest, and in that moment, I'm just like, I could be doing X, this, and I'm not actually resting. I'm restless in my rest, and I'm like, that doesn't work. But then I would go into these waves where I would finally get to a point of rest, and I'd be resting too much. Oh, I'm going to binge watch this show now instead of just watch one and then go do something else, because I'm finally letting my brain rest. And so that's one thing where I've had my challenges of, okay, am I really resting, or am I numbing myself? Am I actually taking time to myself without things of distraction, my phone, whatever, because I can always find something to look to do. So I like that story, though. It's very helpful to understand that.
I really like it. You said some interesting things about, it sounds like you have a couple of contrasting things that you're working against, where it's like you're resting or like Netflix or a show. You describe sometimes it feels like numbing yourself to where you're not really resting. And then when you are more legitimately resting, feels like feeling guilty about not getting things done on your to-do list. So I think it's important to tell ourselves to allow ourselves to rest. Hey, you've done enough on the to-do list today. Okay? You did like 13 things. You can do the 14th thing tomorrow. You know? I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm always adding to my to-do list. You want to still come from a place of contentment and growth. And so when I look back on my week, even on your day, is great to do. And tell yourself a story of growth, not lack. Because in reality, most people are growing, especially if you're a doer. You just don't always see that progress right away and every day.
Right.
You know, you work out for 30 minutes every day. You go and look in the mirror. Oh, nothing happened. You know, but like you do that enough, a couple weeks by, like, oh, there's some growth, or less growth if you're trying to lose weight. Does that make any sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
2019, you started a business with no background in it. What were you betting on in yourself?
That I could do something that I could finish something. I don't know what finishing was in the business at that time, and I've obviously learned a lot that there isn't a finishing point when you start a business. But at that time, because school wasn't a thing and I didn't feel like I was able to finish school and say that I have something from it, I was told you can make money by taking photos. And I liked taking photos, but that was nature only. That wasn't people. And I thought I could just go ahead and start that venture and see what happens next.
Nice. And how's it been going for you?
It's still a work in progress.
Now, you mentioned before, even at home, which I'm guessing in your business as well, that you have a lot on your to-do list. Do you have an assistant?
I don't.
No?
I don't. Because I think where I'm at, I still have some more things that I probably need to learn, and before I bring an assistant in. It could just be some business techniques that I'm not too knowledgeable of yet, but most of my business has been kind of social media focused, and I want to expand out of the social media and find ways that I can utilize other Google Analytics, or I just not apply, but I just filled out my Google business, so you should be able to find it on Google Maps, or you can highlight it when you type in my name, even if you type it wrong. But taking a lot of time to build the infrastructure and recognizing, like, what is SEO, what is keywords, how does all things possibly create an opportunity for a lead when the time presents itself. But just a lot of networking at this point.
It sounds like to me you're doing something a lot of entrepreneurs do, that we're prone to do, is we overcomplicate things.
Oh, yes.
By nature. This is very simple. Let me make it extremely complex.
Right.
And maybe too, without, say you had someone that can completely take over everything you're doing right now, clone yourself. Then you had time to free up and do everything else you're looking into learning to do. Would that be helpful?
Yes, very much.
That is where an executive assistant is a game changer. And I can tell you, by hiring one myself, that it changes everything. And if you're listening to this and you want to know how to hire an executive assistant and train them, go to my Instagram at Jake Paul Turner, DM me the word EA, and podcast, and I will send you the description I used to post the job for the trainer or the executive assistant, and what I use to train her or him in the playbook. So definitely check it out. But I highly recommend it, even if it's part-time to start. You'd be surprised. And you don't want to just hire anyone, because then that'll create another problem. That's not what people think. Oh, I'll just hire someone. No, there's a process you need to follow, because if you don't, then you're just creating even more work, which is the complete opposite of what you're trying to do, and it helps you let go of, like, my assistant completely controls my inbox, my calendar, my travel, and anything else that I could do. Like, the thing I let go of is thinking like, oh, only I can do it. Only I'm this good at this.
Well, see, I grew up with if you want it done right, do it yourself. And it hurts.
It does. Yeah.
It takes a lot out of you.
It does. But here's the thing. They probably can't do it 100% like you. But how would 80% done feel? Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Which is saying is 80% done by someone else is 100% fucking awesome. Just something to ponder.
There's definitely value in that for sure.
Oh, absolutely. They need to convince me.
Yeah, you're the living example of it.
Yeah. And as you can see, here working with my assistant, it's nice. If you had to pick one moment that defined your identity the most, what would it be?
I can think of a memory of how my mom interacts with others, and I think that has been a foundation to how I feel about myself, or how I would choose to, like, interact with others. Ask that question again. Let me see if I can restructure that.
Yeah, no problem. If you had to pick one moment that defined your identity the most, what would it be?
I'm trying to think, what's a better way of restructuring that? A moment that I've experienced, a moment that I've witnessed. I'm overthinking this conversation.
Yeah, maybe like what's a moment that happened that completely changed your life?
I mean, it would definitely be going through that hurricane. It gave me a lot of understanding that I have more resilience than I really knew I had. What I dealt with when I went through it, and now it's like going through challenges now, I kind of sometimes think back on that moment and go, I'm still alive, and even though I don't have the right answer, it doesn't mean I can't go look for it or ask questions. And so, yeah, going through that hurricane definitely changed my life.
With the hurricane, I'm curious, did you guys, like, stay in place, or did you evacuate, or?
We stood in place.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. It makes me think of an analogy that when there is a storm, and I might get the animal wrong, but it's like bison, the herd will actually head towards the storm, or like the eye of the storm. And you know why they do that? Because they're in the storm a less amount of time than if you just stayed and hung back. So they go through the storm. And we often don't think of doing that, but oftentimes that's the way. It's like the one thing we're avoiding, or we know we should be doing. Like there's usually one thing we're supposed to be doing every day that we avoid. And then, like, once you do it, you're like, oh, yeah, everything changes. And it's in the back of your head.
Right.
I've had that recently with a couple little things, like been putting off getting a truck. My last truck is just getting a lot of miles, and I got another truck, it's still used. Or I already talked about hiring an assistant, and I'm like, oh, this is the one thing I need to focus on. And then when you do it, that process is over. You're like, thank God. Does that make any sense?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
What's one thing you think that you're putting off, that if you had to choose tomorrow, if I did this one thing tomorrow and I got it done, it would be a successful day?
applying myself in uncomfortable positions.
Okay, what would be an uncomfortable position for you? Surely not a podcast.
Well, this is one of the week for sure. Being in front of a camera instead of behind, I do get a lot of jokes about that because people say I'm a good conversationalist until I'm in front of a camera, and then I start stumbling over myself because I can't think clearly without questioning, am I saying the right thing or the wrong thing? But to answer your question, I would definitely just lean into trying something that I don't usually do. For instance, on my list for this week is to work out. I'm not saying I need to work out 5 times a week. I'm not saying I need to work out 3 times. I need to work out once. Just put myself in that element because I have tried it before and then I bounce right back out because I get back into my old ways. So just the follow through. I think that's probably the best way to wrap that up is I need to follow through a little bit more.
Do you want to work out after the podcast? I'll probably do a short workout.
Your style, I don't know if I can make it.
It's some simple stuff.
I might feel like that motocross experience.
Oh, we're not doing
I'm not even touching that.
We're not doing some of that today. But I have some simple stuff you could do. I do some longevity stuff now. Like some simple like lunges and stretches and stuff. I challenge you just even do like a 5-minute workout with me afterwards.
Okay.
If you're up for it. So
sure.
If you want to be push or accountability, that would meet your goal, right? I think start small.
I'll put myself in that element with you. I'll do it.
Awesome. I'm going to change. Probably. Maybe I'll work out in like
Well, the problem is I can't change, so you might have to meet me where I'm at.
All right, I'll work out in this. Why not? These are pretty stretchy.
If you're not sweating out.
I'll even have my jacket on. I think like bicep curls and the jacket would be like a good shot, you know?
We're going to sweat in these sweatsuits together.
I'm sweating right now.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
we can get the AC figured out in the future. We'll be good. What was I can't remember the next thing I said to you. But yeah, that's good. I mean, that one thing. And like, I know what I want to comment on is you mentioned, well, I'm curious, how do you think you're doing talking wise in the podcast? What's your perception of yourself?
My palms are sweaty. I think I'm okay. I wish I had a better understanding of how to respond to maybe some of these questions, but I still appreciate being here and being willing to do something that I find uncomfortable. And that's the whole goal in all of this, to keep stepping outside of my comfort zone. I think that's something else that, yes, going through the hurricane was one experience, but it's really easy to find a comfort zone when I came back because there was convenience and there wasn't like, yeah, I always joked about the 3 things that I missed when I was living out there was AC, carpet, and free refills.
Free refills? There's no free refills in St. Thomas?
Not at all. You pay for everything.
Hey, that's the lesson itself. It's like, there's always a cost for something in life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Even at Wendy's on St. Thomas.
Wow, Wendy's.
Don't eat it there, by the way.
Cut, dude.
No, don't do it.
No?
I wouldn't do it in the States either.
I like their chili, you know?
Enough.
And like, I think they can be kind of savage on their social media, which I think is kind of funny.
It's pretty impressive.
That I've seen, if that's who I'm thinking of.
I'm a Frosty and fries kind of guy. I could like that.
That sounds good. Yeah. You know, when I traveled with my one buddy, something that is popular in a lot of countries is KFC. And I'm always like, we see it, and like, oh, we should go, you know? And then we rarely go. And then sometimes we go, and you're like, oh, we shouldn't have done that.
But different countries offer different things.
Yes.
And that's what I found really interesting.
Yeah, like when I was in Japan, their KFC was awesome. And it's actually in their culture. Did you know that? For like Christmas, they have KFC buckets. Like there's a line around the corner for KFC. It's part of their like tradition. Yeah, it was part of like it's a Kentucky Fried Christmas. So yeah. So you want to hear the story about the the KFC. That's what I say. Yeah. Do you want to hear the story about the KFC chicken Christmas story in Japan? So basically, what it is they had like a marketing plan. Like Christianity started to become popular in Japan, and so they marketed towards like there was no like really like traditions people did. So the colonel was like, let's figure this out, and so they marketed it, and it's extremely successful. So it's good. I remember I had like a garlic pepper chicken there. It was really good. So
I'm sure the quality was probably a little bit more approachable.
yeah, approachable is a polite word. The food quality in Japan is really good. I definitely was blessed when I went there. I want to make a comment about how your perception is of you responding, and I think you're really doing really great, by the way.
Thank you.
There's
Appreciate
no expectation I have of you as a guest either. And you also said something that was interesting to me about a right or wrong answer or knowing how to respond, which I want you to just respond like yourself. And like even at the highest level I've learned about coaching, the concept of right and wrong and those labels are things we apply to things, which is a hard concept to grasp, even for myself, to look at things and be like, there actually is no right or wrong. Because you think of like some things and we're like, oh, well, that's wrong for sure. Or this is right. So I just like that perspective on things. It's like just approach from a place like, we're just getting to know, we're just sitting down and having a conversation.
I might add on to that too. One of the things that I've recognized I challenge when I'm having a conversation that is limited in time is keeping on topic, where I'm glad that this has a little back and forth and it has the ability to go out, come back. So maybe when I say right and wrong, it's not so much like there is a real answer and a wrong answer. I think it's just like, how can I respond as structured as possible without feeling like I need to have a story that gets me back to a point that we don't have time for. Maybe that would be better.
That makes sense. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I feel the same way when I am thinking like I want to make this point, or like I told that story earlier. I'm more interested to hear about your story. I have this podcast. I can talk about all my stories and mission and all different things I've gone through in life. I don't have to talk about every single time, and I try and not do that as well. I always like to mention my purpose, though, which we talked briefly before we were recording, especially related to Christianity, is that I'm here to help people. And I believe God put me here to do that. I'm primarily doing that through one-on-one coaching or group coaching. But there's so many different ways you can do that. Like I posted on my Instagram story last night, like, if you want to come to church, DM me church. I'm going to want to get people more to come to church with me. People say, I don't have anyone in to go to church with. Well, now you do. Come with me. I don't care. You know what I mean? Fill up the whole areas or whatever. Like, if you can just affect one person's life, like it's worth it. It truly is. Because that one person affects other people around them too. You're not just affecting one person's life. If you think about like how many people one person comes in contact with, it's a lot. It's not just one person.
That's good.
Does that make sense?
It does. Yep. I feel that with the creative direction too. And if I could just do this for free and do this for people, it would be great, but I can't.
Yeah. I struggle with that with coaching. Because even during this conversation, people might hear some things you're saying, like, oh, that's great advice. And then they don't do anything. And oftentimes, unfortunately, people won't listen to your advice unless they pay for it because they're not invested into it. And depending how much money you make, it's relative based upon that. And that doesn't mean there's going to be some people who can listen to things we're saying and take it to heart and use that wisdom and apply it. That's why I don't typically try and give people a ton of advice. If they're doing something, like you want to work out, I'm like, oh, here's this is these things you do. Unless you come to me and really seem invested and want to ask, oh, okay, I'll show you what I'm doing.
There's value in that because I might give advice without it being asked, and that's when I'm recognizing I can share or I can have a resolution for somebody else's problem quicker than my own sometimes, and that's where I try to take a step back. But also, if it's not being asked for, then I'm already overstepping because it's not invited, it's not open to conversation, and it might seem more condescending than it is helpful. And I've been called out for that before a few times. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, you didn't ask for my help. I don't need to be there to try to provide information.
Yeah, it does.
And I'm also not a therapist. So.
Yeah, it does the opposite. Your intention's coming from, your heart with headphones, right?
There you go. Yes.
You have good intention. It's just also how to be most effective. Like, people will be like, well, I just tell it like it is, and we'll be completely unfiltered when they say, trying to get someone advice, which if you can show a little grace and restraint, your words can be even more effective. And so I think that is how we should try and talk to people or give them advice when our intention's good. Sometimes we can change our technique a little bit and be even more effective. Still genuine. Slightly filtered, I guess, if I could try and describe it. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
It's like I see people driving on the highway, and it's like they're just flying, going as fast as they can, weaving in and out. And I think to myself, the person lacks discipline and structure. And ironically, those people, I think, are often late the most time. It's often time to get ahead or be where we want to be. We need a plan and also just leave a little bit earlier. What's one lesson you've learned from working with musicians that changed how you see your own creativity?
Step outside the box. Don't try to be something that somebody else has already brought to the table. Provide something that is more unique to yourself and how if I find the creative process my passion and you find music is yours, what message are you trying to tell through your music that can't be recreated?
That's really good. Because I think musicians sometimes, they're trying to seek fame. And so they're like, I'm going to do this because it'd be popular. But it's not who they are or who they are as an artist. Or one of my favorite questions when I'm doing social media content is people will ask me, so do you want to be Joe Rogan or Theo Vaughn or insert whoever you want as a podcast? You know what I say to them? No. You know what I want to be like? More of me. Why not? In a way, it could limit myself. I could be smaller, but I could also be way bigger than anyone else in terms of reach. Why limit myself? But why focus on them? It doesn't matter in the end. Like, the only person you need to compare yourself to is yourself. Because that's a legitimate way to compare things. If you're looking at your exercise routine and how you're improving your health, and you work out, like, I wonder if my workouts are being productive. You're not going to look at your girlfriend and see if she's made progress. It just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Like, how is that helpful? It's not. So we just got to compare ourselves to ourselves.
It's one of the reasons I like polling is because it's not competitive. It's within your own average, within your own score, where you're at and what you're doing, and focusing on that. I mean, being creative is that joy to me as well. As everybody's got their own journey. Everybody has their own lane that they want to create in. And I kind of keep up with what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, regardless of somebody doing something better than me or whatever. If somebody's doing something better than me, I want to be their friend. Hey, how did you do that? That's really, would you be willing to teach me?
I think it's a great way to approach things.
Hey, Athanasios, will you be my friend so you can teach me?
Right, yeah. Hey. I mean, I met him kind of randomly. I was out.
Yeah, how was that?
So I was out at like, I can't remember what the music thing it was. It was always like...
Whiskey Row.
Yeah, whiskey music insert thing in Nashville event, Whiskey music, new artist, here's our songs, event. And I was shooting content and was having some trouble getting my videos back in time with who I'd been using at the time and stuff. I was like asking God, can you just send me a Greek videographer to me, please? I deserve it. I'm trying to get my message out there, God, And he's like, he was like, on my iPhone, he's like taking photos and stuff, doing his cool stuff on his iPhone and stuff. I was like, hey, you do photos? Like, do you do video too? And he's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm like, let's meet for lunch or something tomorrow. Went through the plan, and I tell you what, one of the best things besides the high quality work that he does and being a true artist is getting my stuff back timely as well. This is a game changer because a lot of people are late, and and so ever since then, you know, so it's been good. So some learning on the way, but that's just, you know, about each other, you know. It's good. He gives me feedback and I give him feedback too, and it's a great way to work. You know, you want to find a team around you that's on your mission, that supports you. You're having fun.
I like the healthy feedback. That's what I would like more of. That's not so criticism forward. You know, I appreciate surrounding myself with people who know more than me, but I like to think of like being on equal level in the conversation when we're in the room together, not because you have this, I don't know, it could be educational level, it could be finances, whatever. If we're at the same table, we can have this very general level conversation. That was value I found in St. Thomas. You could be sitting next to a billionaire executive at a bar having a drink and get him a shot, and we can crack jokes about what music we like. There is no other label to that whatsoever. But I value that in the creative world too. You got famous based off of talent, hard work, discipline, experience. As a musician, great. But if you're not willing to just have a conversation with somebody, I might listen to your music, but I might not like you as a person.
Yeah, for sure. And it's way more valuable. I know people that make a ton of money, and there's some that I'd never be friends with.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Energy's bad. Great, got a bunch of money. Cool. Like, your relationship sucks. You're not good shape. You're not fun to be around. Why would I be around you?
Right.
And then they wonder why they have trouble getting up in the morning or their relationship sucks. It's like, you're focusing on the wrong thing.
Right.
The things that are the most valuable, no amount of money can buy tomorrow. So if you had $100 million, you wake up tomorrow, you're not going to be good at photography. You're not going to be good at guitar. You can't have a great relationship. You can't make your health magically better. So inherently, those are the most valuable things. To drive our economy, though, doesn't help for us to focus on those things. And I like being content, but on a progress of growth as well. Because I know, like, God, like, when I first was, like figuring out, like, my purpose, and, like, I needed a roadmap, and that was the hardest thing for me. And for when you don't have your purpose, like, aligned, you just don't know what to do. Or if you have people around you, or you're in a relationship that is holding you back from your purpose, it's awful. And, like, my biggest, like, thing I struggled with was, like, I was basically like a lion who's living like a house cat, and it was just killing me. It's absolutely killing me. And I just finally said, I'm not going to live like this anymore. And I created a plan. And now I have that plan, and there's no stopping. I mean, I like to work before, but when you live for God and for other people, and you're aligning with them, you're not going to stop God and me. It's just too much. It's just too much to be reckoned with, because I know what I'm possible of, and I have an idea of what God's possible of, but only to an extent. And I'm just so glad to be on this journey, and I'm glad to be part of it here, even being with this. So it's gonna be so good. It's so awesome.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and I'm excited to be a part of this journey with you.
Yeah.
In today, and what you've brought to the table for me, it's breaking barriers, and I think that's really cool.
What's a way that listeners, if they want a photo, want to reach out to you, find out your services, what's your Instagram? How can they reach out to you and get your services?
Okay, so everything is pretty cohesive. I do have my Instagram, Creative Layman's Lens. It will provide more of the portfolio of my music work. And through that, you can find in the bio booking information. But because of this podcast, for whoever's listening, if you do, just shoot me a DM and say consult. I am building my clientele basis around artists who are looking to grow their brand on social media and understand what knowledge it takes to apply more of the behind the scenes of the business side of their music.
Yes. And make sure to follow him.
Oh,
So,
yes.
Follow him. You will follow him.
Follow me. DM me. Say consult. And let's talk about how we can grow your music
You think you
in
can
the
just
industry.
DM him and not follow him?
I did not look at the camera the entire time, though. It was hard. Should I try it again? Was I too close to the mic?
No, it's good. Follow
Maybe
him.
spell your handle.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand
Spell your
Oh,
handle
that's
out. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that'd be easier. Like,
So-
say it a little bit slower, maybe.
Heard that. So creative, spelled as creative wood. Layman's, Laymans, Lens, Lens.
Nice. We'll put on the screen, too. I think that would be good for each time we do it, and then that we can have it on there. And we'll also make sure we have a link below the video.
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be good. So we're getting ready to wrap up here. We're going to do our workout. That's going to be sick. We'll do like
I'm ready
5
for
minutes. How about 5 minutes? Let's keep it super simple.
Push it, make it 7.
Okay. All right.
I
Pushing
think
it.
I'm here to challenge myself.
Okay. Sounds good. 7 minutes. How do you want to end the podcast today?
That's a great. I just want to say thank you. I think what you're doing and how you're doing it and how you're approaching it is very valuable. I've learned a lot even in sitting here just talking with you. So I'm really excited to see the response of people listening to this. And I'd be really interested to hear in comments or just in conversation, or reach out if you had a question based off of something we talked about. I'd be really interested to understand what does my life look like to other people, because I've never provided this much information about myself to somebody. So this is about as raw as I've ever been. So thank you for letting it be brought to life on a mic, on a conversation. Had a lot of heat pressing on me over here, but
I apologize. The mental pressure and physical heat from my upstairs. We will get the air conditioning.
not so much the physical side. It's just
the air conditioning fixed.
Being stared at while I'm talking is different.
Sure, yeah, it's different, and it may not be my assistant videographer aren't staring at you as hardcore as you think. And please, don't dig through too much in the comments. If not, don't read the comments at all. I can recommend. I read through some of mine. It takes some mental endurance and strength to build up to that, and you got to be in a good headspace to even go through. I can read some of the comments and be like, yeah, whatever, can't hurt me.
Well, I wouldn't take it personally, but I would be curious in the conversation, because I never feel like I'd take it in deeply, but I always like to ask more questions.
Which is good. Just like you said, having feedback is good too. It also helps to look at the right perspective.
Sure.
So, like, I had someone ask me about all these negative comments, and I'm like, negative comments in my Instagram reels? And like, what do you mean? Like, oh, there's like all these comments, they're negative. I'm like, well, one of my, I don't know, like, I have some like, as blessed, like really viral, and that's one of the ones they were talking about. So in that context, I'm like, oh, well, like 700,000 people liked the video, and like, I don't know, you could say some of them, like 200,000 people shared it or something like that, right? I'm just making up numbers.
Sure.
Some of them are similar. And there's, I don't know, X amount of comments too, right? Say there was 6,000 comments. Say 1,000 of those comments were negative. Just assume, right? So like 1,000 to like 1 million people total liking and sharing it. Like, what's the ratio here? 100 to 1. People like it versus don't like it. It's just what you focus on
Sure.
is that we give things meaning to. And I think it's important, and you understand, I believe that what you focus on is super important, and that meaning you give to things. And I hope that as you post the social media and see it, that you look at those things and give it a meaning that is most beneficial to you. Again, thank you so much for coming on here. Let's go do some working out here real quick. I'm excited for this.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Thank you for watching the Jake Turner podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and to follow me on all my other social media platforms. The links are in the description below.